Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be setting up my 2022 planner. This one is a vertical. I always choose a vertical. I chose this because it had the most colorful, fun, colorful, cute illustrations. So that's why I chose this planner. I've already taken out a bunch of stuff from my old planner, which is this one. And I've also included some new inserts that I made myself to be included into this planner. So without further ado, let's begin. I already placed my name over here using some of the stickers. So I'm not going to put anything new here. This page I'm going to be using mainly to mark my daughter's school holidays and then jot down the sites over here, the events. Then this year at a glance page, I'm gonna be inserting this one. It used to be my wellness tab, but I'm gonna be using this for the year at a glance section to mark it as the year. Moving on to the currently page. This is the January currently page, and I've already set it up with a bunch of stickers over here. The way I'm going to use this page is this. So I'm going to use it to track my mood, which I have a little graph over here. So the blue, I will color it in green and purple for happy, meh, and not too happy. So it's going to be like a graph of colors over here. And then I'm going to be tracking my monthly goals, which is over here. Important events, which is over here. This is going to be my social media tracker, which I'm going to do kind of like a chart thing as well. Purchases made for the month and what I'm reading. I'm also going to include savings that I save for the month, although right now I'm currently unemployed, so there's not going to be any savings. So yeah, there's that. So that's how I'm going to be using my currently page. And then on the month page, which is this side, I'm going to be using this to track the shows I've watched, similar to 2021, how I used it. And I'm also going to do daily gratitudes for each day over here. This might change, I'm not too sure, but I'm going to try it out and see how it goes for the month of January. And this is just a card that I included just as a reminder on how I'm using the page. Until I've gotten the routine down, then I'll remove it. So previous year, I had a tab over here, which I found that I didn't quite like because it kind of blocks my view of the divider. And I really like some of the dividers in this planner, so I'm keeping it viewable by not inserting a tab over here. And then moving on to the weekly page, this is how I'm going to be using it. I'll be using it to track this week's goals, steps, and actions. I'll probably be writing it over here. Highlights of the week or gratitude, same over at the sidebar here. I'm going to be putting exercise tracker, habits track for the week, and mood tracker. So this is going to be a reminder for me on what I'll be using the weekly spread for. And then this is the tab I'll be using to mark the weekly page. Now, since I'm using only one planner for 2022, I won't have to remove any of the months to make space because I think it's sufficient for what I intend to do. I'm going to be inserting this last tab over here. All of these tabs is from the Squad Goals theme. I can't remember what was the name exactly, but they all have similar illustrations. So this 3 over here is from that packet. And this is going to divide my sections from the weekly spreads. The first section, I'm going to be using this tab. It's not going to have this title. I'm going to be using the tab for goals. So there's a special section for my goals. And I've created some inserts for the goal section. The first one is gonna be the Wheel of Life. I got this Wheel of Life from Inkwell Press 2021 Goal Planner, and I just copied it and pasted it on this paper and then decorated it with a bunch of stickers. But this is basically the Wheel of Life, and on the back is all the sections of that Wheel of Life, and I'm going to be listing down all the goals that I plan to have for those sections. So that's going to be the first page. Next up here is a quarter kind of goal reflection thing. I don't know what it's going to be called, but this is similar to the Inkwell Press. I didn't want to buy another Inkwell Press planner, goal planner, because I noticed that some of the sections or prompts I don't really use, or it doesn't work for me. So I took the best of what was in there and customized the page for myself. So I did like how they had a quarter reflection or review, so I'm doing a similar style. It's gonna have what goals will focus on this quarter, listing down the goals, the result, and then my mood for each of those results. And then what worked, listing down the goals, notes, and then whether to continue or not. And then what didn't work for those goals, what to adjust or improve on, and then whether or not I would get it done. And on the back is another Wheel of Life, but a smaller one, and I use numbers to indicate those sections, and then below those sections I will list again any goals that I would follow up on or revise. So that's going to be the quarter review, and I'm going to be making a new insert for each quarter similar to this page, this template. Okay, next up is some pages for each goal. So this is also based on Inkwell Press Goal Planner, but I have only taken up a few things from the layout that they had. So here will indicate what goal it is, what category it's under, the reason for the goal, and then the action steps. But since some of the action steps I don't know what particular order, I have this circle over here to actually rank it. And then the back is the reward for achieving the goal. And I'm also going to be using this each month to indicate whether this goal was worked on for that month. And then here is a notes section to jot down some notes on whether or not I'll be following up on this goal to continue or discontinue. So that's for one goal, and I've made a few more similar entries, front and back, for a second goal, for a third goal, and for a fourth goal. So this is going to give me an opportunity to exercise my creative side in coming up with templates for each goal. So that's going to be my goal section. Next up is going to be my list section. For 2021, I had it at the front of the planner, but I find that although it was easily accessible because it's at the front, I did notice that it blocks my view from some of the pretty layouts of the year at a glance and whatnot. So I decided to put it under the same section. So this self-care tab here or divider is going to be for the list. And in the list section, I'm going to be putting the dramas that I'm going to be watching for 2022. I actually have a current list going on in the 2021 planner. I'll show you really quick. So the list I had going on was all this over here, and I find that it is kind of messy, and some of them I'm not planning to watch again, so I decided to come up with a whole new list. So here's a new page or insert to mark the list of dramas, TV show, and this also gives me an opportunity to use up my washi tape. And then this is for the anime. For the movies. It's just a simple style. I don't really need a whole decorative or complicated layout for this list. It's just a place to keep all the list of things I watch. And then the next one is going to be my chores list. Last year, or actually this year, I had it in between the month page, and although it helps me to keep track of my chores whenever I look through it, it does block my view from the month page, and I find that I'm kind of tired of seeing that. So I'm putting it in together with my other list. Next section is this divider that says work over here. I'm using it to track my reading. So it's going to be like my book or reading journal section. I've been watching a lot of reading journal videos, and I kind of like what they have in their book journals, and I wanted to do that as well. Although I do have a Goodreads app which I keep track of pretty frequently, there are some things I decided that I would want to keep track of writing down myself. So this reading journal, I'm gonna have this reading goals over here. This is just a reminder. I'm planning to read the books that I have already on the shelf, and 25 books in a year. So this is the same goal as I have for 2021, and I'm using the Goodreads to track it. So right over here, and then at the back I have challenges, which I'm not sure if I want to take up on, because to be honest, I'm not sure if I have the time, but we'll see. So at least there's a section for me to list the challenges that I might be following, and then if I do follow it, I'll create an insert to keep track of those challenges. Next up is this page over here, where I list down all the books that I'm reading. And for each of these columns over here, I have this legend to keep track of how I'm going to be noting it down. So OB is basically own or borrowed, and I'll mark it with a dot or period and an asterisk. And then the type, I'll be marking it with a color, green for physical, blue for audiobook, and purple pink for ebook. Genre, I'm going to be using red and purple. For romance, science fiction, non-fiction, thriller will be green and brown. And then the R over here is basically my rating. It's going to be a simple rating, probably 1/5 or 1/10, I don't know. Haven't quite decided on that yet, but that's not urgent to be decided right now. Next page is the books to read. So this is gonna be like a new arrival list. I know I can mark it in the Goodreads app, but Goodreads app doesn't really show me right away like which month is coming out on, or how many books I have to be read for the particular month. So I decided to keep track of that over here, and I have January right up to December. Next up, I have this series tracker. It's probably gonna go beyond this one page. I've yet to decide how many series I'm reading, but there are instances where I read a book and I quite like the series or world it's based on or in, that I read the rest of the books within that series. So this is probably going to be used to track that. Next up, I have my reading stats page. It has the month of January to December over here, and then 1 to 31 days. And I'm going to be marking it, the number of pages I've read for that particular day, with a blue, green, purple, well actually magenta, purple, and green for the number of pages over here. And at the back is my genre tracker, which I'll probably just indicate either a simple line or an X, I don't know. And then review is gonna be right over here. For the month, I'm gonna be writing the number of physical books, audiobooks, ebooks, and graphic novels I've read for that particular month. So these are the things that Goodreads probably have somewhere, but it's not easily viewable for me. And then here is the best books of the month. So it's obvious what it is for. I just simply choose the best book I've read for that month, and probably thinking of printing out the cover and pasting it over here because I like colors rather than just writing the title. Okay, now the next divider is this schedule divider. I'm using it to track Esri's stuff, and some of the things that I want to track is the books that she's reading. So I've been borrowing a lot of books for her from the library to read, and I have in the past used Goodreads to track the books that she's read, but it kind of messes up with my reading goals in Goodreads. So what I did in previous year was to incorporate the number of books that she would possibly read along with the number of books that I would read. So the reading goal is inflated, like from 25 right up to 100 or 150, which doesn't really clearly indicate my progress. It indicates both of our progress. So I want to separate that out. And for her, rather than tracking all those things that I have for my reading journal, I'm just going to be listing out the titles and books, the title of the books that she has read. Okay, and the rest of the pages for her section is probably going to be journaling stuff for each month, similar to how I did for 2021. So it's going to look something like this. So this is how I've been doing for her in previous months, and I'm just going to be creating a page for her and then mark November, indicate the events that's happening and stuff like that. Next, I have over here the divider list. I'm using it for my job search, and in this section I'm gonna be putting pages to track the name of the company, the job title, the checklist for printing the job post, working on resume, applying, call, follow-up, research, and then contact information of the people for each of those companies. And then I'm going to be using the paper inserts from the dashboard extension pack and the social media extension, well, not extension, the social media paper inserts. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to be using it, but at a rough glance, this is basically how I'm going to be listing the company name, the job post, information for that particular job post, and then at the back I have no idea, haven't figured that out yet. And then here is probably going to be like to track when I called, when to follow up for each of those positions that I applied for. And this is what the checklist is going to be looking like. I probably might have to customize this a little bit, but this is one of the things that I'll be using for my job search. And then this one over here, probably as a notes section for each day. And then here I would list down all the actions that I will need to take for the job search. Okay, so this is looking okay. I don't really need to take out my expander disc to make room. So right now I want to put in here, I'm using the colorful leopard zip folio to house my 2022 planner. So this is gonna go in here. Just slide in the back over here. Okay. I'm not gonna be decorating a whole lot for this zip folio. I did place some important documents over here, which I'm not gonna show because it's private. In this zip pouch, I'm gonna be putting stickers that I'll be using. Or whenever I'm going out, I'm just gonna be putting some stickers over here to use. So right now it has the Christmas ones, just to remind myself that I'll be using it. Here obviously is for the pen. Over here I'm probably just gonna use these pockets to put name cards of people that I interviewed with or references that I have in the past. And over here I have no idea what I'm going to use it for, to be honest, because it's too deep for me to put like small stuff. I think it originally intended for coins, but it's too deep to reach for the coins. I don't know what they intended this for. I've been asking around and nobody has really answered, but if you have any idea of what to use this for, feel free to drop a comment below and let me know. Oh, I forgot to mention that this is a metal disc, which I have switched out the original plastic disc. So originally it was this disc over here. And I really liked it. However, I didn't notice until too late that two of the discs were already cracked. So like this one, it has actually two cracks in it. I don't know if you can see in the reflection, but two of them were about to go. So I decided to switch it out for this black ones instead, and it still looks good. Before I do a flip through of what I have set up for 2022, I'm gonna be switching out the stickers, the labels over here, so that it's clearer when I do the flip through. Okay, so I've switched out the labels and I'm ready to start the flip through. This is the cover, my name page, the year calendar stuff that will be marking my daughter's school holidays and school events, and then the year at a glance where I'll be marking my family special events, the currently page for January, which I'll be tracking my mood, my monthly goals, the events for the month, what I'm reading, purchases I've made, social media, and the following month it's gonna also have my savings. And then for this part over here, I'll be listing down the shows or movies I've watched for the month, my daily gratitudes for each day, and then the weekly spread, I'll be tracking the weekly goals, the highlights of the week, and habit trackers. And skipping all the way to the back, since I'm only using one planner, the sections would contain my goals, my lists, my books, Esri section, and my job hunting. So for the goals, I have the Wheel of Life, and then what each section would have, and then my quarter review page, and 4 inserts for each goal. And then we come to the list section, which would house my dramas, TV shows, anime, movies, and my house chore. Then coming to my reading journal, my reading goals for the year, and the challenges I might be following, the legend for my list of books that I've read, the new arrivals for the month, series tracker, my reading stats of how many pages I've read, the genre, and the number of physical audio, ebook, and graphic novels that I've read. Here would house my best book of the month. And then we come to Esri's section, which I would list down the books that she has read, and then her monthly recap. And then we come to the last section, which is my job search, or when I'm employed, this would probably turn into my work improvement section. So I just put job just to make it simple. So it will have the name of the company, title, checklist, and contact information for each of those job posts and company that I'm applying for. And these are the pages that I'll be customizing to facilitate my job search process. So there you have it. That's my 2022 planner. And like I said, I'm just going to be using this zip folio to house this planner. And I no longer have a pocket folder in here. Rather, I'll be using this zip folio as the pocket folder containing my stickers, important documents over here, name cards, and my pen. I hope you enjoyed watching this setup and my flip through of the 2022 planner. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my other videos, do subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!